living this life is not easy. At some point, sometimes you also have to, in a way, express the willingness that you are also willing to sacrifice something about you to get what you want. Everybody wants something, but the question is if you are actually also willing to sacrifice what is needed to get what you want. And in the same way, it goes now with the ability of taking the workload, taking the pressure, taking the critics, taking the conflicts. So somewhere along the line, the ability to regulate yourself in a world that tries to bend you. This is what it is.
Sometimes you have to give yourself a little bit of grace, because in some seasons of life, maintaining is winning. Just not losing ground is the W. You're not having a bad year. You had a few bad days that you're thinking about for the rest of the year.
Take the first step. The first step is always the hardest step because it forces you, like a chick breaking out of an egg when it hatches. The first step forces you to break out of your comfort zone. And the comfort zone is so strong that probably 90% of people are held back from their full potential all their life because of this vice-like comfort zone. And when you take the first step, the only way you can do it is break out. And suddenly you see the second step and the third step and the fourth step. And then as you take the steps, your self-esteem goes up and your self-confidence goes up and you become more creative and you start to think of all kinds of ideas and people say, what has gotten into you? I mean, what are you smoking? Because whatever it is, you should share it with the others. And so this is the difference between top people, is they have a big idea of what's possible and they take the first step.
That you should be more like you. And you should focus on that fact every single day, because we don't need 10,000 more influencers in the world. We need you to be yourself, okay?
People won't want to hear this, but what you avoid controls you. If you avoid tough conversations, your relationships suffer. If you avoid risk, your business will suffer. If you avoid failure, your growth will suffer. If you think having uncomfortable conversations is hard, wait until you see the result of not having uncomfortable conversations. Much harder. At least for me, I just try and face the thing that I'm avoiding and constantly ask myself, like, what is that thing that I'm trying not to look at? And then force myself to stare at it, because usually the thing that scares you the most is the thing that you need most to face to move forward.
People always talk about vision, seeing your vision, seeing somebody else's vision, other people seeing your vision. Let me tell you something. Before you could see your vision, before anybody else could see your vision, the first thing they have to do is deal with what's visiting them in their nightmares. That you have to deal with before you or anybody else could see your vision.
He said the ideal situation for a man or woman to die is to have family members praying with them as they cross over. He said, but imagine, if you will, being on your deathbed and standing around your bed, the ghost of the dreams, the ideas, the abilities, the talents given to you by life, and that you, for whatever reason, you never went after that dream. You never acted on those ideas. You never used those talents. You never used those gifts. And there they are standing around your bed, looking at you with large, angry eyes, saying, we came to you, and only you could have given us life. And now we must die with you forever. And the question is, if you died today, what dreams, what ideas, what talents, what books, what music, what leadership, what voice will die with you? Said the wealthiest place on the planet, it's not in the Far East where there's oil in the ground. It's not in South Africa where there are diamond mines. He said the wealthiest place on the planet is the cemetery. Because there you'll find greatness that we've never seen. There you'll find talent and genius and potential never actualized. Maybe that's why some unknown writer wrote the words, what if you live your whole life only to discover that it was wrong? That it was wrong. that you were chosen to do something else, and you didn't do it.
You want to know the secret to achieving everything that you dream about? Don't quit. See, when you know what the destination is, there's a million paths to get there. And it took me a long time to learn that the greatest moments of growth and success happen right after you feel like quitting, but you don't. That's the secret. Keep going.
If you're trying to do something exceptional, if you're trying to do something that's difficult, you don't get the luxury of kind of wanting to do it. If you kind of want to do it, you're going to lose, because you're not just competing against people who kind of want it. You're not competing against people who want it bad, but you're competing against people who need to do it. You're competing against people who have their back against the wall, who have no other choice but to succeed. That's your competition. And so if you're sitting around here saying, oh, well, I want to do it, but like, I have this to do and that to do, it's over. You're not going to win. The guy that has his back to the wall is going to destroy you.
Losing strips away your ego. It forces you to face the parts of yourself that need work and the truths you've been unwilling to accept. But losing isn't the end of your story. It's where the real work begins. The chance to analyze the cracks in your foundation and build something stronger. Growth happens when you fall flat, feel exposed, and have to decide whether you'll rise again. The lesson is in the loss. The win is in the comeback. If you want to go big, you can't run from failure, because it's the ticket to every breakthrough you've been chasing.
If you're seeing this, that means you're not dead. And if you're not dead, that means you woke up today. And if you woke up today, that means you were handed a goddamn gift. Because others weren't lucky enough to get that gift. And some took their last breath last night. So today, you're not wasting the day. You're making it count. Because you know you're not getting it back. So you're not taking it for granted. Today, you're doing something today that makes you happy. You've put it off long enough. Stop being scared what others think about you. You're not in high school anymore, so act like it and grow up. Their opinions, they don't matter. It's your life, not theirs. Today is your day, so make the day count. Do something today that makes you happy. Because you may not be lucky enough to get the gift of tomorrow.
But the question you have to ask yourself is, who am I? Where am I going? What do I want to accomplish? 3 major areas of goals that you have to think about. The first is your personal and your family goals. These are the reasons why you're alive. What do you want to accomplish for yourself and for your family? Write them down, define them clearly. The second set of goals that you have to ask is your business, your career, your financial, your material goals. What is it that you want to accomplish in the external world? Where do you want to make your contribution? The third type of goals you have to ask about are your self-development goals. And in my estimation, your ability and your willingness and your tenaciousness in developing yourself is the key to accomplishing everything else.
You know that dream in you that seems out of touch and crazy? Yeah, that one. What if that dream was actually put in you for a reason? Do not buy into the fear that everyone around you calls logic. The dreams that truly make a difference are rarely logical. Be fearless in the pursuit that sets your soul on fire.
The proper comparison group for you is you yesterday. First of all, you're the only control group that's appropriate to you, because you have a certain set of talents and possibilities and limitations and tragedies that are truly unique to you.
Shouldn't it just happen? Well, it doesn't. Basically, life is this way. What you put into it is what you get out of it.
People want their life to be free of struggle and conflict. They want a smooth path in front of them. When you face adversity,
or things aren't going quite well, you have to reassess who you are. You have to reassess your opinions. You have to say, maybe I'm not doing this the right way. Maybe my patterns of responding in the past aren't working out. Maybe there's something wrong with me. How can I learn from this moment? How can I get past this particular obstacle? If you never have failure, if you never have conflict, you are never going to develop yourself in life.
Even though you are scared, can you still go through with the task? Even though it's risky and you don't know what's on the other side, can you still stay focused, stay locked in, keep working, and keep pushing forward? That's the person that people want to follow.
What's the number one way you measure somebody that's hungry? Very simple. Their sense of urgency. That's simple. Let me explain to you why. So people say, "Wow, you have no idea how hungry I am." Really? Yeah. What'd you do about it today? Oh, not today, but tomorrow I'm gonna. You ain't hungry, man. You just think you're hungry. You are not hungry.
Think like the person you intend to become. Ask yourself, how would the person I'd like to be do the things I'm about to do?
Everybody in here wants to get to the next level. And very simple, you can make 2 lists, and I can tell you if you're gonna get to the next level or not. Make a list of what you wanna do to get to the next level. And on the other side of the list, what are you willing to do to get to the next level? And if that list doesn't match, you are so far away from winning, you have no chance.
You do not have time to fuck around. You don't have time to play games, to be in everybody's face, to not be focused on your goals. Every single day counts. You didn't do nothing yesterday, and you didn't do nothing today. Every single day that you don't do nothing, bro, is a day wasted. It's a day that you could have got better.
You've developed a false belief system in yourself of what you need to know to take action. And so successful people are willing to step into the unknown and the unprepared more than people who are unsuccessful. So procrastination is really saying, I got to know a little more. I got to prepare a little bit more. I got to get a little bit more ready, a little bit more ready, a little bit more ready. And you keep raising the readiness quota to a point where you never take action. And so you got to get to this point where you're like, I'm going to get into the room. I'm going to start to write that paper. I'm going to start the book. I'm going to get into that, and I'll figure it out when I get there. And most people that are successful have this internal belief system that I don't need to know everything to take action. I just need to know enough to get in the room, and I'll figure it out from there.
No one has ever achieved anything if they haven't faced failures, if they haven't had disappointments. To achieve anything in life, you have to be prepared to take on the odds, face disappointment. You only lose when you give up. If you do not give up, you will win from the most incredible positions. The fight is in the mind. It's not physical, it's in the mind.
What are the things that you fear that's been keeping you from living your dream? That's been keeping you from doing some things that you would like to do? Just think about those things.
If you could have what you needed and wanted, what would that be? And that's a meditative question. You don't want to force an answer out of yourself. You want to ask yourself that like you would ask someone else. If I could have what I wanted, what would that look like? If I could have the relationship that I needed and wanted, if I could have the friendships, if I could have the job or career, if I could have the educational pathway, if I took care of myself properly, if I regulated my susceptibility to temptations, what would that look like if it was optimized? And then that sets you up a goal that has some motivational force. This is worth doing. The next goal is to take your goal and to fragment it into micro goals until you find a micro goal that's small enough that it still presents some challenge that you will do.
Most people overestimate what they're going to do in a year, and they underestimate they'll do in a decade. And I know a decade sounds like a long time, but how many can remember where you were a decade ago and realize the time has gone like this? And our whole world's accelerating. So a decade will go down before you even know it. The question is, what are you going to do with it? And you want to make sure when you arrive at the end of that decade, you're a different universe than when you started. So in the short term, it may go up and down, but the long term, it's explosive.
So as you begin to look toward making this your decade, as you begin to look toward making your life different, as you begin to look at yourself, you've got to redefine yourself. Who are you right now? And who must you become in order to create what you want? What has to change about you? As you begin to look toward the future and take inventory of yourself, what is it about you right now that you've got to leave this behind because this no longer fits? Looking at where you want to go and the kind of person that you must become, the kind of standards that you had for you. What is it that you must do differently?
No matter what's going on in your life is not permanent. Everything is going to change. So there's two things you can do with change. You can react to it or you can participate in it.
I want to tell you something else, and I want to make this clear. Don't just listen. Don't just listen. Do. I'm not just talking. So you know, I'm not just talking. I'm doing. And I don't want you to just listen. Put this information to work. Make today count. Every day. Go forward. Get aggressive and attack, whether it's on the battlefield or on the beat or in the factory or on the farm or on the construction site or on the website, in the garage or in the firehouse. Don't hesitate.
We all get what we tolerate in ourselves and other people. But when you're no longer willing to tolerate something, that's when your life changes. The difference in people is their standards, period.
Commit means to make it happen no matter what. See, when you make the commitment, I'm going to become wealthy, when you make it important, when you decide I'm going to do it no matter what, life changes for you. See, most people don't keep their commitments to their commitments. That's why they lead lives of poverty, lives of misery, lives of unhappiness.
No matter what you face, no matter how bad it is going to be, when there is a challenge, anything that you're facing, the only way to overcome the challenges that you face is to start walking.
I am one decision away from a totally different marriage, a totally different life, a totally different job, a totally different income. Your life comes down to your decisions. And if you change your decisions, you will change everything.
Oh, you ask yourself a question. If I could have what I needed and wanted, what would that look like? You'll get a dream, you'll get a vision, and it comes to you. That's the most accurate way of describing it. It makes itself manifest in the theater of your imagination. It's a rather frightening question to find out, to allow yourself to ask yourself what it is that you really need and want.
This is not about abstaining from life. Oh, it's the opposite. It's about going all in and really engaging and really living and really experiencing and tasting and smelling and eating and loving and how to explore. We're here for that. We're here for all of that. So you create the experience, and then when it gets predictable or it gets boring, let's change it up. Let's create another one. And then how far can you go with that? It just goes on.
A lot of folk won't let you forget what you used to do or what you have done, what mistakes you've made. All of us have made some mistakes in life. All of us have done some things that if we had them to do over again, we wouldn't do it again. A lot of things that if I had it to do over again, if I knew then what I know now, I would have done it differently. Well, it didn't happen that way. Oh, you don't want me to live that down, huh? You want to keep on putting that in my face about what I did. Guess what? I'm not interested. That's what I did then. Won't do it today.
Who am I? What have I learned? What have I created? What forward progress have I made? Who have I helped? What am I doing to improve myself today to get better, faster, stronger, healthier, smarter? Is this what I want to be? This? Is this all I've got? Is this everything I can give? Is this going to be my life?
Everything is happening to you as God is processing. Every difficult moment you're having, He just processing. That's all He doing. Everything you're going through is preparing you for what you ask God for. And if you need to be tough when you get to where you're going, then He gonna toughen you. If you gotta be more caring along the way, He gonna let you have some trials come your way that's gonna have to produce that in you.
How do I deal with setbacks, failures, delays, defeats, or other disasters? I actually have a fairly simple way of dealing with these situations, summed up in one word: good. That when things are going bad, there's going to be some good that will come from it. Didn't get the job you wanted? Good. Go out, gain more experience, build a better resume. Got injured? Good. Needed a break from training. Got beat? Good. We learned. Unexpected problems? Good. We have an opportunity to figure out a solution.
Most people in life quit before the candy comes out. They quit before the candy comes out of their business, their body, their relationships, not knowing they're much closer to the dream than they think they are, but the progress is invisible. You gotta keep hitting that piñata in your life. Keep taking swings, one more swing, one more swing, one more swing, knowing you're making a visible progress. Remember when I said you're neglecting your kids? When you're not chasing your dreams and your potential? You're actually neglecting you. You're neglecting your spirit. You're neglecting your soul. You're neglecting the very reason you were born. Nothing makes me more proud than to see someone chasing their potential, chasing that happiness, chasing that bliss. I don't care if a candy's come out yet. I care that you swing.
But things are going bad. Don't get all bummed out. Don't get startled. Don't get frustrated. No. Just look at the issue and say, good.
When you raise your hand and say, this is my income, this is my dream, this is my goal. When you raise your hand and say, this is it, don't you understand that you need to operate at least 110 to make that become a reality? You can't get to that dream on 70. You can't get to that dream on 60. You can't get to that dream waking up at 6 or 7 o'clock.
Because the truth is, y'all, like, I don't care how great life is for you. I don't care how rich you are. I don't care how popular you are. I don't care what kind of job you have. You know, I don't care what race you are. The thing that brings us all together is not always success, right? It's not success, it's struggle. Like, I don't care who you are. If you're going through this human experience, you're gonna experience struggling. You're gonna experience hard times. You're gonna experience setback. You're gonna experience loss. You're gonna experience depression. Just as well as we have our ups, we're gonna have our downs. And so when I'm going through these moments, I love to disconnect. And I disconnect from the world because some of us, we're so connected to everything that we haven't connected to our soul. We haven't connected to our peace because we're so connected to requests. We're so connected to comparing our life. We're so connected to all these outside things that we ignore our internal soul.
You constantly remind yourself after every defeat, after every setback, every time you get knocked down, I've got a saying, if life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. See, a lot of people, because of failure, they stop believing. Let me share something with you. You will fail your way to success. Yes. You will fail your way to success. It doesn't matter how many times you fail. It doesn't matter how many times people tell you that you can't do it. It doesn't matter if you don't have a dime in that bank. You will fail your way to success.
It's so often the easy path. The easy path that calls to us to be weak for that moment, to break down for that moment. Accept reality, but focus on the solution. Take that issue, take that setback, take that problem and turn it into something good. Go forward. Finally, if you can say the word good, then guess what? It means you're still alive. It means you're still breathing. And if you're still breathing, that means you've still got some fight left in you. So get up, dust off, reload, recalibrate, re-engage, and go out on the attack.
And there are going to be plenty of times in your life when you're not happy. There might be years. And so it's a shallow boat in a very rough ocean. And it's based upon a misconceptualization. Happiness is something that descends upon you. Everyone knows that. You know, it comes upon you suddenly. And then you should be grateful for it, because there's plenty of suffering. And if you happen to be happy, well, wonderful. Enjoy it. Be grateful for it.
That you will fail your way to greatness. That most people allow their fear of failure, 80%, allow their fear of failure to outweigh their desire to succeed. When you're willing to fail again and again and again, when you make up your mind to become unstoppable, when you make up your mind to become a no matter what person, then that will then give birth to a part of yourself that you don't know right now.
What are you saving for? What are you working toward? What kind of physical condition do you want to be in? What kind of relationships do you want to have? What skills are you trying to develop? And just like any leader, you have to explain to yourself the why.
Everything you're going through is preparing you for what you asked God for. You just got to quit tripping while you're in the process, because the process is necessary. You may not see it now, but when He gets you on the other side of it, you're going to see exactly why it went that way, and you're going to be okay with it. But quit tripping during the process.
We all fall down in life, guys. The question is, who gets back up? Again, it's not the potential of the individual. It's not the genetics. It's the perseverance, the never say die attitude. If you constantly keep throwing shit against the wall, eventually something will stick, guys.
Possibility that's within you that can well up, the courage and the truth and the ability and the skill and the willingness to set things right, if you are willing to set them right, is more powerful than all of that. And so it's so interesting. It was proof for me of an old saying, what you most want to be found will be found where you least want to look, essentially. And it's so interesting because it means that if you're willing to turn around and to stand up, stand up straight and face the darkness like fully, what you discover at the darkest part is the brightest light. And then not something that's so much worth discovering, because there's going to be terrible darkness in your life. And it's going to make you cynical and bitter. And it could easily be that you're just not looking at it enough, because if you looked at it enough and you didn't shy away and you brought everything you had to bear on it, you'd find that there was more to you than there was to the horror.
You get one shot at this gig right here. Life. One life. That's all you've got. And regret, in and of itself, it's worthless. It does nothing for you. In fact, the only valuable thing in regret is the lesson you learned, the knowledge that you gained.
Pull yourself together and quit tripping because you in the process. God is processing you. He ain't through with you. If he was through with you, you would not wake up in the morning.
You may have lost and failed in one moment, but I promise you, what you learned in that defeat it's like having that master's degree in life. I learned what not to do. Now I'm not going to regret the fact that I have mastered, because I learned. And the most dangerous thing that you could have ever allowed to happen, that your enemy would ever never saw coming, was the fact that you learned the value of you. Yeah. Now I know what I'm capable of. Now I know how close I was.
Life is an echo. What you send out comes back. What you sow, you reap. What you give, you get. What you see in others exists in you. Do not judge, so you will not be judged. Radiate and give love, and love comes back to you.
I will try 100 times to get up, and if I fail 100 times, if I fail and I give up, do you think that I'm ever going to get up? No. But if I fail, I try again and again and again. For as long as I try, there's always that chance of getting up. And it's not the end until you've given up.
You have to start living your life in expectation. You have got to start expecting great things to happen for you in order for it to happen. If you live your life in expectations, that's what happens to you. If you live your life in despair, that's what happens to you.
Disengage your sense of self, your sense of self-worth from achievement. Once you are wholly focused on sincere pursuit, everything changes.
I'll never be rich. You won't. You won't. The moment you change the frequency that your tower emits, different things come back to you. If you change your attitude, you change your altitude.
Most of us go through life pretending that we're satisfied where we are, pretending that everything is okay, pretending that we don't have any special goals or ambitions or desires, when really deep down inside we do really want more. Because you have to judge a tree by the fruit it bears, not the fruit that it talks about. See, a lot of people pretend that they want more out of life, but all you have to do is watch their actions.
So you really have to work hard for a set of skills that matter to you. A fool never learns. A smart man learns from his mistakes. A wise man learns from the mistakes of others. So you've got to completely divorce yourself from this notion of outcome and become completely obsessed with the idea of sincere pursuit.
And so when you look at the night sky and that sense of awe grips you and calls something out of you, right, to respond to your encounter with the infinite, even your encounter with mortality, your encounter with finitude and limitation, all of that in relationship to the infinite. That sense of awe is also the calling forth of something out of you that can respond to the challenge of that infinite. Well, that's the microcosm within. No, it's a reflection of the structure of the cosmos itself. That's the divine ideal.
Only thing that's going to make you happy, my friend, in this year or any other, is to step up. It's to raise the standard. It's to discover what you're capable of and feel that incredible power pushing through whatever's holding you back and get to the other side of more of your true self. That's what this game's all about.
So life is real short. So you add up all your traveling, add up all your sleeping, add up all your school, add up all your entertainment, you've probably been half your life doing nothing. So out of 30 years, I might have about 16 years to be productive. So it's how we can all break individual lives down.
You've got to completely divorce yourself from this notion of outcome and become completely obsessed with the idea of sincere pursuit. Now, why sincere pursuit? The reason to tie your sense of self, your self-esteem, your pride, your ego, your identity, all of that, the reason to tie that to sincere pursuit is it's the only part you can control. I cannot promise you that you'll ever be successful. You cannot promise you that you will be successful. But you can promise and know, if you actually did it, to show up every day and really pursue it.
But what do we say? But there'll always be tomorrow. Oh no. There's no guarantees you're going to show up tomorrow. There are a lot of people who were here yesterday that they're not here today. There are a lot of opportunities that were around yesterday. They're not here today.
I'm talking about real commitment, not that cheap stuff, right? Not that counterfeit stuff, not that if I get what I want stuff, not that little boy stuff. I'm talking concrete commitment, the commitment that says, can I stay true to what I said I would do long after the mood that I've said it in has left? It's easy to say what you're gonna do when you're sitting in these plush seats and it's AC and you got the words on the wall.
There's people out there that don't want to see you do good. As you know, there's people out there that don't want to see you happy, don't want to see you accomplish anything, don't want to see you grow.
So you got to go start your journey. And the journey starts with you finding, why the hell am I here on this planet Earth? Why am I here? If you don't know that, you will live the rest of your life searching, always asking the question, why?
I'm saying answer your call. The universe is calling you. Here's something about life. You can't get out of it alive. Hello? You can't get out of life alive. Live now, like Maria said. Live your dream now.
There's people out there that are threatened by your greatness. They can't handle you. They know they can't compete with you. They know they can't beat you. So their goal, their plan is to make you beat you. All the great ones in life, one thing they had was composure. No matter what people do at them, hate, negativity, gossip, drama, rumors, no matter what they do at them, they stay focused on where they were trying to go.